First contact, Earth's unexpected visitors. The skies above New York City erupted in a dazzling display of light, drawing the attention of millions. What started as a typical Tuesday morning in 2045 quickly transformed into humanity's most pivotal moment. Dr. Samantha Chen, lead astrophysicist at the Global Space Initiative, stood transfixed on the roof of her research facility, her eyes locked on the shimmering anomaly descending through the atmosphere. "It's happening," she whispered into her comm device, alerting her team. "Alert the UN Security Council. First contact is imminent." Within hours, similar phenomena appeared over major cities worldwide: London, Tokyo, Moscow, Beijing. The global communication networks lit up with a frenzy of activity as governments scrambled to respond to the unprecedented event. As the strange, iridescent craft settled into a hover above Central Park, Dr. Chen found herself whisked away to a hastily assembled command center beneath the United Nations building. There she joined a diverse group of Earth's foremost experts in various fields, all brought together to face this moment. "Ladies and gentlemen," began Secretary General Adebayo, his usually steady voice tinged with a mix of awe and apprehension. "We stand at the threshold of a new era for humanity. Our visitors have requested a meeting, and we must decide how to proceed." Dr. Chen stepped forward, her analytical mind already racing. "We need to approach this scientifically. These beings have technology far beyond our own. Their method of arrival alone suggests mastery of a space-time in ways we've only theorized about." As the debate raged on about how to handle the situation, a holographic projection suddenly materialized in the center of the room. The assembled humans gasped collectively as a figure took shape, a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting and flowing. "Greetings, people of Earth," the entity spoke, its voice resonating not through the air, but directly in their minds. "We are the Chronos, travelers from what you would call the fifth dimension. We come with urgent news and a dire warning." The room fell silent, all eyes fixed on the ethereal visitor. "Your species stands at a crossroads," the Chronos continued. "The path you are on leads to catastrophe, not just for yourselves, but for the very fabric of reality. We have traveled across time and space to prevent this future." Dr. Chen, her scientific curiosity overriding her initial shock, stepped closer to the hologram. "What kind of catastrophe? And how can we possibly affect reality itself?" The Chronos form rippled, almost as if sighing. "Your understanding of time is limited. You perceive it as linear, flowing from past to present to future. But time is far more complex, interconnected across dimensions in ways your current science cannot fathom." Images began to form around the Chronos, showing glimpses of advanced technology, strange mathematical equations, and scenes of devastation on a cosmic scale. "In approximately 50 of your years, your species will make a breakthrough in quantum computing. This leads to advancements in AI that, combined with your experiments in particle physics, will create a cascade effect. The result is a tear in the space-time continuum that spreads like a cancer across all realities." The assembled humans looked at each other in disbelief. General Stefan Novak, representing Earth's combined military forces, spoke up. "Are you saying we accidentally destroy the universe? That's preposterous." The Chronos form pulsed with what might have been frustration. "Not just your universe, but all universes, all realities. The very concept of existence itself is threatened." Dr. Chen's mind raced, connecting dots and extrapolating possibilities. "But if that's true, why come to us now? Why not warn us just before this breakthrough happens?" An astute question, the Chronos replied, a hint of approval in its mental voice. "The solution requires more than simply avoiding a single event. Your entire species must evolve its understanding of reality. You must transcend your limited perception of time and space." Secretary General Adebayo stepped forward, his face a mask of determination. "What do you propose? How can we prevent this catastrophe?" The Chronos form expanded, filling the room with shimmering light. "We offer knowledge," the fundamental truths of existence, but we cannot simply give you this information. Your minds, your very beings, are not yet capable of comprehending it. You must prove yourselves worthy and capable of wielding such power responsibly. A test? Dr. Chen asked, her scientific mind already considering the possibilities. Yes, the Kronos confirmed. We will present you with a series of challenges. Each will push the boundaries of your current understanding of physics, mathematics, and the nature of reality itself. You have 10 of your Earth years to complete these trials. Succeed, and we will guide your species to a new era of existence, averting the coming catastrophe. Fail, and we will have no choice but to intervene more directly. The implicit threat in those final words hung heavy in the air. General Novak's eyes narrowed. And if we refuse your challenges, what's to stop us from continuing on our own path? The Kronos form darkened slightly. Your choice in this matter is an illusion. The catastrophe we speak of is absolute. If you do not willingly participate, we will be forced to take more drastic measures to preserve the fabric of reality. The extinction of one species is preferable to the annihilation of all existence. A tense silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. Humanity was being offered a chance at transcendence, but failure meant potential extinction. Dr. Chen, her mind already buzzing with the scientific possibilities, spoke up. We accept your challenge. Humanity has faced adversity before, and we've always risen to meet it. We'll prove ourselves worthy of this knowledge. The Kronos form brightened once more. Very well. Your trials begin now. We will select individuals from among your population to participate directly. The first challenge awaits. With that, the holographic projection vanished, leaving the room in stunned silence. Secretary General Adebayo was the first to recover. Dr. Chen, I'm placing you in charge of our response to this situation. Assemble whatever team you need. The resources of every nation on Earth are at your disposal. As the room erupted into a flurry of activity, Dr. Chen stood motionless, her mind reeling with the implications of what had just transpired. Humanity had always looked to the stars, wondering if we were alone in the universe. Now they had that answer, and with it, a challenge that would define the very future of their species. The next 10 years would push humanity to its absolute limits, forcing them to question everything they thought they knew about reality. Little did they know, the true nature of their trials would test far more than just their scientific knowledge. The Kronos challenges would probe the very essence of what it meant to be human, and in doing so, reveal truths about the universe and themselves that would shake the foundations of existence. As Dr. Chen left the command center, her mind already formulating plans and strategies, she couldn't help but feel a mix of terror and exhilaration. Humanity stood on the brink of either transcendence or extinction. Their journey into the unknown had only just begun. The temporal dilemma, humanity's race against time. 6 months had passed since the Kronos' dramatic appearance, and the world had changed almost beyond recognition. Dr. Samantha Chen stood at the heart of the newly established Temporal Research Center, a sprawling complex hidden deep within the Rocky Mountains. Here, the brightest minds from every corner of the globe worked tirelessly to unravel the mysteries presented by their extradimensional visitors. Status report, Dr. Chen called out, her voice echoing through the cavernous main laboratory. Holographic displays flickered to life around her, each showcasing a different aspect of their ongoing research. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, a brilliant quantum physicist, stepped forward. We've made progress on understanding the first challenge, but we're still far from a solution. The Kronos concept of temporal mechanics is, well, it's beyond anything we've ever encountered. The first challenge had appeared as a series of complex equations, seemingly etched into the very fabric of reality itself. They described a system of time that didn't flow linearly, but existed in a state of quantum superposition across multiple dimensions. Show me, Dr. Chen said, her eyes narrowing as she focused on the central holographic display. The air shimmered as a multidimensional model materialized before them. It resembled a vast, intricate web, with countless threads of time intersecting and diverging in patterns that defied conventional logic. We've managed to map out some of the basic principles, Dr. Tanaka explained, manipulating the model with graceful hand gestures. But every time we think we've grasped a concept, it leads to 3 more questions. Dr. Chen nodded, her mind racing to keep up with the implications. And the practical applications, any progress there? This time, it was Dr. Marcus Okafor who spoke up, his voice tinged with excitement. We had a breakthrough in that area. Using the principles we deciphered so far, we've managed to create a localized temporal field. A hush fell over the lab as Dr. Okafor activated a small device on a nearby workstation. A shimmering bubble of energy sprang into existence, encompassing a digital clock. As they watched, the numbers on the clock began to fluctuate wildly, moving forwards and backwards in time. Impressive, Dr. Chen murmured, her scientific curiosity temporarily overriding her concern about the larger implications. How stable is it? Dr. Okafor's face fell slightly. That's the problem. We can maintain the field for about 30 seconds before it collapses, and scaling it up, well, the energy requirements are astronomical. As the team discussed the intricacies of their discovery, an alarm suddenly blared through the complex. Red warning lights bathed the laboratory in an ominous glow. What's happening? Dr. Chen demanded, rushing to a nearby console. The face of General Novak appeared on the main screen, his expression grim. We've got a situation, Dr. Chen. One of our research outposts in the Arctic has gone dark. The last transmission we received. Well, you need to see this for yourself. The screen split, showing grainy footage from the Arctic facility. The scientists watched in horror as a group of researchers seemed to age rapidly before their eyes, their bodies withering and decaying in a matter of seconds. In the background, a strange, pulsating anomaly could be seen. "Oh my God," Dr. Tanaka whispered, her face pale. "It's a temporal distortion field, but on a scale we've never seen before." Dr. Chen's mind raced, connecting the dots. The Chronos warned us about this. Our experiments must have triggered some kind of cascading effect. General Novak's voice cut through their shock. "We need solutions, Dr. Chen. This anomaly is growing, and we don't know how to stop it." Dr. Chen turned to her team, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "All right, people, this is what we've been preparing for. Dr. Tanaka, I need you to analyze that anomaly. Figure out its expansion rate and projected growth. Dr. Okafor, see if we can adapt our temporal field technology to contain this thing." As the team sprang into action, Dr. Chen couldn't shake a nagging feeling that they were missing something crucial. The Chronos had said their challenges would test more than just scientific knowledge. What were they overlooking? Over the next 72 hours, the Temporal Research Center became a hive of feverish activity. Sleep was forsaken as the world's best minds grappled with a threat they barely understood. Reports trickled in from around the globe of similar anomalies appearing, each one growing at an alarming rate. On the 3rd day, as exhaustion threatened to overwhelm them, Dr. Chen had an epiphany. She called her core team together, her eyes bright with realization despite her fatigue. "We've been approaching this all wrong," she began, pulling up a holographic model of the Earth. "We've been trying to fight these anomalies individually, but look at the pattern they're forming." As they watched, lines connected the various distortion sites, forming a complex geometric shape around the planet. Dr. Tanaka gasped. "It's a temporal lattice. The anomalies aren't random. They're part of a larger structure." Dr. Chen nodded. "Exactly. And I think I know why. This isn't just a test of our scientific capabilities. It's a test of our ability to see the bigger picture, to understand interconnectedness on a cosmic scale." She manipulated the hologram, zooming out to show the Earth in relation to the solar system and beyond. The Chronos exist beyond our concept of time and space. They see reality as a vast, interconnected web. We need to do the same if we're going to solve this. Dr. Okafor leaned forward, his eyes wide with realization. So instead of trying to shut down each anomaly, We need to harmonize them, Dr. Chen finished. Create a stable temporal field encompassing the entire planet. It's the only way to bring the system back into balance. The implications were staggering. Such an endeavor would require a level of global cooperation unprecedented in human history. Every nation, every research facility would need to work in perfect synchronization. As if on cue, the main screen lit up with incoming transmissions from research centers around the world. Each one reported similar findings, arriving at the same conclusion from different angles. Dr. Chen felt a surge of pride in her species. Faced with an existential threat, humanity had come together, pooling their knowledge and resources in a way she had never thought possible. "All right," she said, her voice filled with determination. "Let's save the world." The next few hours were a blur of activity as the global scientific community coordinated their efforts. Massive temporal stabilizers were hastily constructed at key points around the planet, each one carefully calibrated to resonate with the others. As the moment of truth approached, Dr. Chen stood in the control room, her hand hovering over the activation switch. The weight of all humanity seemed to rest on her shoulders. "All stations report ready," Dr. Tanaka announced, her voice tense. Dr. Chen took a deep breath. "Here goes everything," she muttered, and threw the switch. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, a wave of energy pulsed outward from each stabilizer, visible as a shimmering distortion in the air. The waves intersected, forming a complex pattern that enveloped the entire planet. On screens around the world, people watched in awe as the temporal anomalies began to shrink, their chaotic energy being absorbed and harmonized by the global field. As the last anomaly winked out of existence, a collective cheer went up from every research center, every monitoring station around the world. They had done it. Humanity had faced its first true test from the chronos and emerged victorious. But even as they celebrated, Dr. Chen knew this was only the beginning. The chronos had promised more challenges, each one more difficult than the last. And looming beyond those challenges was the ultimate threat, the catastrophe that could unravel the very fabric of reality. As the adrenaline of their success began to fade, Dr. Chen turned to her team, her expression a mix of pride and determination. "Well done, everyone. But let's not rest on our laurels. We've proven we can come together in a crisis, but the real work is just beginning. The chronos are watching, and I have a feeling they have much more in store for us." With renewed purpose, the team returned to their research, knowing that the fate of not just their world, but all of existence, rested on their ability to unlock the secrets of the universe. The race against time had only just begun. Project Chronos, a leap of faith. 3 years had passed since humanity's first trial, and the world had transformed in ways few could have imagined. The global cooperation necessitated by the temporal crisis had led to unprecedented advancements in science, technology, and social structures. Dr. Samantha Chen, now the director of the newly formed Global Temporal Research Initiative, GTRI, stood before a gathering of world leaders and top scientists in the organization's headquarters in Geneva. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice carrying a weight of both excitement and trepidation, "today we embark on our most ambitious project yet. We call it Project Chronos." The holographic display behind her flickered to life, showing a complex schematic of what appeared to be a massive, ring-shaped structure. "For the past 3 years, we've been decoding the information left behind by the chronos after our first trial. What we've discovered is, well, it's beyond revolutionary. We believe we found a way to create a controlled gateway into the 5th dimension." Murmurs of astonishment rippled through the audience. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, now Chen's right hand, stepped forward to elaborate. "The structure you see here is a temporal resonance engine," she explained. "In theory, it will allow us to generate a stable field that can interface directly with higher dimensional space-time." General Novak, his hair now streaked with gray, leaned forward. "And the purpose of this gateway?" Dr. Chen's expression turned grave. "Twofold, General. First, we hope it will allow us to communicate more directly with the chronos, to better understand the challenges that lie ahead. But more importantly, we believe it's the key to preventing the catastrophe they warned us about. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. They were proposing to build a machine that could potentially peer into the fabric of reality itself. Dr. Marcus Okafor, now heading the engineering division, took over the presentation. The construction of the temporal resonance engine will be the most complex engineering project in human history. We'll need to harness dark energy on a scale we've never attempted before. The precision required is, well, it's beyond anything we've ever done. As the team delved into the technical details, a young scientist named Dr. Zora Patel spoke up. Dr. Chen, with all due respect, are we sure this is wise? We're talking about manipulating forces we barely understand. The risks are substantial. Dr. Chen finished for her. You're right to be cautious, Dr. Patel. But remember, the Chronos made it clear that inaction is not an option. The catastrophe they warned us about is coming, whether we're ready or not. This is our best chance to prevent it. The next 18 months were a whirlwind of activity. Construction of the temporal resonance engine began at a remote location in the Atacama Desert, chosen for its stable geological conditions and clear skies. Scientists and engineers from around the world poured their expertise into the project, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge and capability. As the massive ring structure took shape, Dr. Chen couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and apprehension. They were attempting something that, just a few years ago, would have been considered pure science fiction. On the day of the first test, tension hung thick in the air of the control center. Dr. Chen stood before her team, her usual composure masking the storm of emotions within. I won't sugarcoat this, she said, looking each team member in the eye. What we're attempting today is dangerous. We're stepping into the unknown. But I want you all to remember why we're here. This isn't just about scientific discovery. It's about the future of our species, of all existence. Dr. Tanaka initiated the startup sequence, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls. The temporal resonance engine hummed to life, its ring beginning to glow with an otherworldly light. Energy levels stable, Dr. Okafor reported, his eyes fixed on the readouts. Initiating dimensional interface in 3, 2, 1. A beam of intense energy shot from the center of the ring, forming a swirling vortex of light and color. For a moment, it seemed as though they had succeeded. Then, alarms began blaring. We're losing containment, Dr. Patel shouted, her fingers flying across her console. The field is destabilizing. Dr. Chen watched in horror as cracks began to appear in the fabric of space around the vortex. Through these fissures, she caught glimpses of something, realities beyond her comprehension, folding and unfolding in impossible ways. Shut it down, she ordered, but it was too late. With a deafening roar, the vortex collapsed in on itself, sending out a shockwave that knocked everyone off their feet. As Dr. Chen struggled to her feet, she saw that the temporal resonance engine was intact, but dark and silent. In the stunned silence that followed, a familiar shimmering appeared in the center of the control room. The Chronos had returned. You have taken your first true steps towards understanding, the being communicated directly into their minds. But you still cling to your limited perceptions. The gateway you seek cannot be built with technology alone. Dr. Chen stepped forward, her scientific curiosity overriding her shock. What do you mean? What are we missing? The Chronos form rippled. The key lies not in your machines, but in yourselves. The barrier between dimensions exists not just in the physical world, but in consciousness itself. As the team struggled to comprehend this, Dr. Patel's eyes widened with realization. Of course, she whispered. We've been so focused on the physical aspects, we've ignored the role of the observer. In quantum mechanics, consciousness itself plays a role in shaping reality. The Chronos form brightened, as if pleased. You begin to understand. Your next trial will require you to expand your consciousness beyond the limits of your current perception. Only then will you be ready to face the true nature of reality. With that cryptic message, the Kronos vanished, leaving the team to grapple with the implications of their words. Dr. Chen turned to her team, her mind racing with new possibilities. "All right, people, it looks like we need to radically rethink our approach. Dr. Patel, I want you to head up a new division. We're going to explore the connection between consciousness and the fabric of space-time." As the team began to discuss this new direction, Dr. Chen couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the verge of something truly monumental. They had set out to build a machine to pierce the veil between dimensions, only to discover that the key lay within their own minds. The path ahead was unclear, fraught with dangers both physical and metaphysical. But as Dr. Chen looked at her team, she saw not just scientists and engineers, but pioneers on the brink of a new frontier of human understanding. "We've got our work cut out for us," she said, a determined smile playing on her lips. "But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that humanity is capable of incredible things when we work together. Let's show the Kronos what we're really capable of." As the team dispersed, energized by this new challenge, Dr. Chen couldn't help but wonder what other revelations awaited them. They had taken their first tentative steps into a larger universe, and there was no turning back. The journey to unlock the secrets of consciousness and its role in shaping reality had begun, and with it, the next phase in humanity's cosmic evolution. Cosmic revelations. The nature of reality unveiled. The years following the failed activation of the temporal resonance engine saw a dramatic shift in the focus of the Global Temporal Research Initiative. Under Dr. Chen's leadership, the GTRI had expanded its scope, bringing together not just physicists and engineers, but neuroscientists, psychologists, and even practitioners of ancient meditative techniques. Dr. Zara Patel, now heading the newly formed Consciousness Studies Division, stood before a group of volunteers, her voice calm but filled with purpose. "What we're attempting here goes beyond traditional scientific methodology. We're not just observing reality, we're actively trying to expand our perception of it." The volunteers, a diverse group from various scientific and spiritual backgrounds, listened intently as Dr. Patel explained the experimental protocol. They would be using a combination of advanced neurofeedback technology and deep meditative practices, attempting to achieve states of consciousness that could potentially interact with the fabric of space-time itself. As the experiments progressed over months, then years, strange phenomena began to occur. Volunteers reported experiences that defied conventional understanding: visions of multiple timelines, sensations of existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously, and even instances of limited precognition. Dr. Chen, observing one particularly promising session, turned to Dr. Tanaka with a mix of excitement and trepidation. "We're onto something big here, Yuki, but I can't shake the feeling that we're only scratching the surface." Dr. Tanaka nodded, her expression thoughtful. "I know what you mean. It's like, the more we learn, the more we realize how little we truly understand." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden commotion. One of the volunteers, a young physicist named Alex Reeves, had entered a deep meditative state unlike anything they had seen before. The monitoring equipment was going haywire, showing brain activity patterns that should have been impossible. As the team rushed to Alex's side, his eyes snapped open, but they were different, swirling with an otherworldly light that seemed to contain entire galaxies. "I see it," Alex whispered, his voice resonating strangely. "The true nature of reality. It's beautiful and terrifying." For the next hour, Alex described visions that challenged everything they thought they knew about the universe. He spoke of realities layered upon realities, of time flowing in all directions simultaneously, of consciousness itself as a fundamental force shaping the cosmos. As Alex's consciousness gradually returned to normal, Dr. Chen realized they had achieved a breakthrough. They had managed to expand human perception to glimpse the higher dimensions the Kronos had spoken of. Over the next few months, the team worked tirelessly to replicate and understand Alex's experience. They refined their techniques, allowing more volunteers to achieve similar states of expanded consciousness. Each session brought new insights, gradually piecing together a picture of reality far more complex and interconnected than they had ever imagined. Dr. Patel, analyzing the data from these sessions, made a startling discovery. "Dr. Chen, look at this," she said, pulling up a holographic display. "The patterns of brain activity during these expanded states. They're remarkably similar to the equations the chronos left us." Dr. Chen's eyes widened as she saw the correlation. "It's as if our brains are naturally attuned to these higher dimensional frequencies. We just needed to learn how to access them." As they delved deeper into this newfound understanding, the team began to grasp the true nature of the catastrophe the chronos had warned them about. It wasn't just a physical event, but a collapse of consciousness itself, a failure of humanity to evolve beyond its limited perception of reality. One evening, as Dr. Chen was reviewing the latest findings in her office, a familiar shimmering announced the arrival of the chronos. "You have made significant progress," the being communicated, "but time grows short. The convergence approaches." Dr. Chen, her mind racing with questions, asked, "This convergence, it's not just about physical reality, is it? It's about consciousness itself." The chronos form pulsed with approval. "You begin to truly understand. The universe as you know it is but one layer of a vast, interconnected whole. The convergence is a point where all layers align, where the barriers between dimensions thin. It is a moment of great potential and great danger." "And humanity's role in this?" Dr. Chen pressed. "You stand at a crossroads," the chronos explained. "Your species has the potential to become conscious co-creators of reality itself. But if you fail to transcend your current limitations, the shock of the convergence will cause a cascade failure across all dimensions." As the implications of this sank in, Dr. Chen realized the true scale of their challenge. They weren't just fighting to save humanity or even their own universe. They were fighting to preserve the very fabric of existence across all realities. "What do we need to do?" she asked, her voice filled with determination. The chronos form expanded, filling the room with shimmering light. "You must prepare your species for a great leap in evolution, not just in body or in mind, but in the very essence of your being. You must learn to exist as we do, as conscious entities spanning multiple dimensions." With that, the chronos vanished, leaving Dr. Chen with a monumental task ahead of her. The next morning she gathered her team, her face set with resolute purpose. "We've been thinking too small," she began. "Our goal isn't just to understand higher dimensions or to communicate with the chronos. We need to evolve, to fundamentally change what it means to be human." As she outlined what she had learned, the team's expressions ranged from awe to disbelief. Dr. Okafor was the first to speak up. "You're talking about changing the very nature of human consciousness. Is that even possible?" Dr. Patel, her eyes alight with the possibilities, interjected, "Maybe it is. Look at how far we've come already. If we can expand our perception temporarily, who's to say we can't make that expansion permanent?" The discussion that followed was intense, as the team grappled with the ethical, philosophical, and practical implications of what they were proposing. They were talking about fundamentally altering the human experience of reality, a change that would affect every person on the planet. As the debate raged on, Dr. Chen's gaze was drawn to the window, where she could see the sprawling GTI complex. In one direction lay the remnants of the temporal resonance engine, a monument to their first attempts to breach the barriers between dimensions. In another, she could see the meditation gardens where volunteers were even now expanding their consciousness. The path ahead was unclear, fraught with dangers and ethical dilemmas they could scarcely imagine. But as Dr. Chen looked at her team, the brightest minds humanity had to offer, united in their quest to unlock the secrets of the cosmos, she felt a surge of hope. "We've come this far," she said, her voice cutting through the debate. "We faced challenges that seemed impossible and overcome them. Now we face our greatest test, not just to save humanity, but to transform it, to become something greater than we ever imagined possible." As her words sank in, a sense of purpose filled the room. They stood on the brink of the greatest adventure in human history, a journey that would take them beyond the boundaries of known science, beyond the limits of their own minds, and into a new era of cosmic consciousness. The race to evolve humanity had begun, with the fate of all realities hanging in the balance. The battle for existence, humanity's stand. The next 2 years were a whirlwind of activity as the GTI worked tirelessly to prepare humanity for its evolutionary leap. Dr. Chen and her team had developed a global consciousness expansion program, combining advanced technology with refined meditative techniques. Millions of people worldwide were participating, gradually expanding their perceptions and learning to access higher dimensional awareness. But as humanity progressed, new challenges arose. Not everyone was eager to embrace this change. Resistance groups formed, arguing that this evolution would mean the end of humanity as they knew it. Tensions rose globally as society grappled with the implications of this cosmic shift. Dr. Chen stood before the United Nations General Assembly, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. We stand at the precipice of a new era for our species. The convergence is approaching rapidly, and we must be ready. Our very existence, not just as individuals or as a species, but as conscious beings across all realities, hangs in the balance. As she spoke, alarms began blaring throughout the building. Dr. Tanaka rushed in, her face pale. "It's happening," she gasped. "The convergence, it's starting early." Chaos erupted as the fabric of reality itself began to waver. Outside, the sky shimmered with impossible colors as multiple dimensions began to bleed into one another. People in the streets cried out in fear and wonder as they caught glimpses of other realities, other versions of themselves. Dr. Chen and her team raced back to the GTI headquarters, where they found the chronos waiting for them. "The moment of truth has arrived," the being communicated. "Your species must make its choice now. Evolve or face annihilation." Dr. Chen turned to her team, her eyes blazing with determination. "This is what we've been preparing for. Activate the Global Consciousness Network. It's time to bring humanity together like never before." Around the world, those who had participated in the Consciousness Expansion Program began to link their minds, forming a vast web of human awareness. Dr. Chen, along with her core team, took their places in specially designed meditation chambers, ready to guide humanity through this cosmic transformation. As they delved deep into the expanded state of consciousness, they could feel the fabric of reality flexing around them. The barriers between dimensions grew thin, and they could sense the vast, interconnected nature of existence. But there was resistance. Those who feared change, who clung to their limited perceptions, created discordant ripples in the collective consciousness. Dr. Chen could feel the strain as humanity teetered on the brink between transcendence and collapse. "Focus," she projected to the global network. "Remember who we are, what we've achieved. We've faced impossible odds before and triumphed. We can do this." As her words resonated through the collective consciousness, something remarkable began to happen. People around the world, even those who had resisted, began to open their minds. They caught glimpses of the greater reality, of the beauty and interconnectedness of all things. The chronos watched in fascination as humanity began to shift, to evolve before their very eyes. The fabric of reality, which had been on the verge of tearing apart, began to stabilize. Transcendence, a new era for humankind. As the convergence reached its peak, humanity experienced a collective awakening. Minds expanded, consciousness soared, and for a brief, beautiful moment, every human on Earth was united in a shared perception of the true nature of reality. When it was over, the world had changed irrevocably. Humans found themselves with a permanent expansion of consciousness, able to perceive and interact with multiple dimensions simultaneously. The barriers between mind and matter, between past, present, and future, had become fluid and permeable. Dr. Chen, emerging from her meditation chamber, looked out at a world transformed. The sky shimmered with a visible manifestation of higher dimensions, a constant reminder of the vast, interconnected nature of existence. The chronos appeared before her, their form now clearer and more comprehensible to her evolved senses. "You have succeeded beyond our expectations," they communicated. "Humanity has not only averted catastrophe, but has taken its place among the conscious co-creators of reality." Dr. Chen smiled, feeling the resonance of billions of minds, all connected yet individual. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now," the chronos replied, "your true journey begins. You have the power to shape reality, to explore the vastness of existence in ways you never imagined. But with this power comes great responsibility." As the implications of this new reality sank in, Dr. Chen gathered her team. Their faces reflected the awe and wonder they all felt, but also the determination that had brought them this far. "We've achieved something incredible," she said, her voice filled with emotion. "But our work isn't over. We need to help guide humanity through this transition, to understand and use our new abilities responsibly." In the years that followed, Earth became a beacon of cosmic consciousness. Humanity, no longer bound by the limitations of linear time and three-dimensional space, began to explore the universe in ways they had never dreamed possible. They made contact with other evolved species across dimensions, sharing knowledge and experiences. The challenges they faced were no longer just global, but cosmic in scale. Yet, with their expanded awareness and unified purpose, they faced each new frontier with courage and curiosity. Dr. Chen, now recognized as one of the pioneers of human transcendence, often found herself looking back on the journey that had brought them to this point. From the first warning of the chronos to the final breathtaking moment of evolution, it had been a path filled with danger, discovery, and wonder. As she stood on the observation deck of the first interdimensional exploration vessel, preparing to venture into realms once thought impossible, she felt a profound sense of gratitude and purpose. Humanity had not only saved itself, but had taken its first steps into a larger, more wondrous universe. The ship hummed to life, its consciousness-driven engines ready to carry them beyond the boundaries of their home dimension. Dr. Chen turned to her crew, a diverse group of evolved humans eager to explore the cosmos. "Ready for the next adventure?" she asked, her eyes twinkling with the light of countless realities. As the ship departed, piercing the veil between dimensions, Dr. Chen knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity's greatest journey, the exploration of the infinite tapestry of existence, was only just beginning. And so, with minds expanded and hearts full of wonder, humanity set forth into the vast, interconnected cosmos, ready to write the next chapter in their cosmic story.